Am I the asshole for hiring a cleaning service and paying for it out of my wife's budget? My wife is a stay-at-home mom.
We have 2 children.
10/12. I pay all the bills, put money aside for the kids' education, emergencies, savings, vacations, retirement, etc. Then whatever is left I split 50-50 with my wife. Recently she has decided that I do not do enough around the house, so she wants me to start doing more chores. I asked if we were going to split up all the chores again.
What I mean is the kids have their chores, she has hers, and I have mine. So if she wants me to do more, I want mine redistributed as well.
I think she can mow the lawn and do the yard work and house maintenance.
This is not what she wants.
She wants me to take on more of the chores we agreed would be hers, on top of earning all the money and all the chores I currently have.
I asked her what she wanted me to do.
She gave me a list. I hired a cleaning service and paid for it out of our budget before splitting the fun money. Now she says that I'm an asshole and being financially abusive. I think it's a fair compromise. A
compromise is an agreement made between both sides.
From the description, it sounds like you did this unilaterally and are now dealing with the fallout.
Because even if her request was unreasonable, relationships don't survive unilateral decision-making and failures to communicate.
Your children are 10 and 12 and I assume are not homeschooled.
What exactly is your wife doing all week?
Not the asshole.
Part of her job, for lack of a better way to describe it, is to take care of the majority of the housework the majority of the time.
And I say this as a woman.
Not the asshole. What does your wife do all day?
The children are at school, and unless your house is a massive mansion full of pets, I cannot see what she does. Thinking face. Not the asshole. Kids are old enough when she can actually do more chores and not less. I would get that she needs help chores when you kids were toddlers, but with kids being out of house, school, friends, hobbies, etc., for a big chunk of the day and not needing much attention even when they are. She is just lazy. Not the asshole. The kids are old enough to be mostly independent and are actually helping with chores. She's a stay-at-home mom while you work and provide 100%. It is wild for her to expect you to do her chores on top of the rest. What does she even do all day when the kids are in school? You provided a solution to her laziness problem. She gets to do less chores.
If she doesn't like its impact on her budget, she can do the damn chores, get a job herself, or she can leave and find out what living alone, working full-time with an apartment to maintain and 2 kids looks like.
And I say this as a woman, you're not being financially abusive, she's the one exploiting you. Am I the asshole for refusing to bring my letter from my mom to family therapy? My parents broke up when I, 16 male, was a few weeks old. They were never married and they were like 1920s when they had me, so pretty young. They didn't get along so good, but they could be sorta civil to each other. It really depends on what was going on, I think, because sometimes they stayed away from each other. When I was 6, my dad met my stepmother and they got married by the time I was 7. My mom and stepmother did not get along at all. I remember feeling the tension between them. I remember hearing my stepmother grumble to dad about mom if I had to go to their house instead of home with mom after they had all been in the same place. It was extra bad if they all showed up to my dance recitals. My stepmother wanted to be the one doing some of the dance stuff. She used to tell my dad she didn't think she'd have much in common with a young boy, but dance could be our thing, and mom was hogging it by always being there. Mom was the person who signed me up for dance. Dad wasn't on board back then. He's a bit too macho dude for that. My mom got sick when I was 8 and she died when I was 10. The worst part of that time was when she got too sick to take care of me and I had to live with my dad all the time. I still saw my mom. But it wasn't the same. Before she died, she wrote me a letter and told me to read it whenever I needed to feel close to her. She said she put all her love into that letter. She also left me cards for milestones. My mom's original letter made my stepmother so angry though. I never called my stepmother mom or anything. I never call her my parent either. I know she technically is. But I always disliked the idea of her being called that because she hated mom so much and felt like mom needed to step back from stuff to let her take over them, like dance. My stepmother is pissed that my mom never mentioned her in the letter and that mom never asked me to let her, stepmother, in.
She felt like Mom put up a final wall between us and made sure she would always be the outsider in my eyes, and I would always long for my mom and reject her as a mother figure.
Our relationship is really tense while things with my dad are better than they were when I was younger. He got softer. So he said the three of us should go to therapy together to figure stuff out.
After 2 months of therapy, my stepmother wants the letter brought into sessions, and the counselor feels like that's a good idea and we should discuss the content of it since it's such a point of tension.
But I don't want my stepmother anywhere near it. She's poison when it comes to my mom, and I don't want her to taint it. The counselor told me it would only benefit us all.
My stepmother got mad and said even a piece of paper is more important to me than she is.
We had 2 sessions since and I did not bring it. This made my stepmother's anger worse. Am I the asshole?
Not the asshole, and if I were you, I would look into getting a safe or lockbox to put it in.
I would hate for you to return home and find out that she has destroyed it out of jealousy. Not the asshole.
The contents of that letter are for you and you alone.
Therapist be damned.
Your stepmother should stop deluding herself into thinking you will ever acknowledge her as your mother. Had she and your mother been on better terms, maybe it's a different story.
Not the asshole, and this therapist is not helping you.
Do you ever get one-on-one time with them where you can explain yourself without your stepmother there?
If not, tell your dad that this therapy isn't working for you and you won't continue unless you get some individual therapy as well. Not the asshole, not even close.
This letter is just a physical manifestation of your stepmother's perceived inferiority complex.
She's being needlessly competitive over the role of a maternal figure, when she could have created her own role for herself in your life had she not been a brat about it all.
If the counselor brings it up again, I would simply state that you do not wish to dissect the words of your mother which bring you comfort.
You don't want the letter to become something negative in your memories with your mom.
And I would throw the tiniest bone to your dad's wife by saying, you are asking her to respect that, and it would mean a lot to you if she could understand that this letter is not a way to spite her but to comfort you.
Not the asshole.
Time to drop the truth on her in therapy. Time to tell her, since the moment we met, you have talked about my mom in the most disgusting way.
I'm not sure why you think saying disparaging things about her will make me like you, love you, or see you as anything other than my dad's wife.
If someone talked about your mom, or someone else important to her, like you talk about my mom, you wouldn't like, love, or see them as a parent.
You are the reason we do not have a bond. That letter is personal and I am not sharing with you.
Dad, you should have stopped her from talking badly about mom years ago for my sake, for my mental health. Keep that letter safe.
Not the asshole. I see that your counselor isn't very good at his job. Am I the asshole for putting both my obese and skinny twins on a diet? I have 2 children, 14-year-old identical twins, Megan and Alana. Both are 5 feet 0 inches. Megan weighs over 150 pounds while Alana weighs around 95.
They used to be the same weight until they were around 7, when Megan started getting chubby, but still healthy weight.
When she was 11, Megan was considered medically overweight. I went to a doctor for advice, and he said that I shouldn't worry too much since a lot of kids gain weight right before puberty, and then balance out after their growth spurt. The twins had their growth spurt last year, and Megan's weight has only increased since then, to the point where she's actually obese. So I decided to implement a healthy diet for the entire family. I slowly started to cut back on sugar, junk food, and unhealthy snacks. I cook them high-volume, low-calorie meals full of vegetables and protein so that they still feel full after eating.
Neither of the twins are very athletic, so I've also tried encouraging them to engage in physical activities, like swimming, bike riding, trampolining, etc.
I tried putting emphasis on staying healthy instead of losing weight.
However, Alana guessed that the real reason for this new diet is because I want Megan to lose weight.
She started complaining that it's not fair that she also has to diet because her sister's fat. I told her that I didn't want Megan to feel singled out and feel as though she's the only one being punished for her weight. Am I the asshole? Edit.
I've gone to multiple doctors, and neither of the twins have medical conditions that would influence their weight.
Wow. You are the asshole. Not for trying to put emphasis on healthy eating but for ignoring the proverbial elephant in the room.
Megan is ill.
Identical twins don't diverge that rapidly at age 7 without an underlying true metabolic issue. If your doctor is ignoring that,
She is incompetent.
Whatever doctor told you to ignore this years ago was an idiot.
Get your daughters to a specialist.
Now.
Bring both of them.
Megan is probably starting to feel a host of other issues, including depression, cardiovascular damage, and other lifelong traumas. You are the asshole. You are the asshole for ignoring this blatant issue.
Go get help now and stop putting your head in the sand and blaming this on eating habits.
Sheesh.
Your last sentence is very telling. You don't want just one to feel that she is being punished for her weight. Nobody should feel like they are being punished for their weight, much less by the one person who is supposed to give them unconditional love.
Have you taken them to the doctor to have their hormone levels checked? You're gonna feel like double the asshole when you find out you've been punishing both daughters because one is showing symptoms of PCOS. You are the asshole. Since Alana is only 95 pounds and Megan is over 150, it's obvious that they have different things going on medically, so having them on the same diet is just not a sound idea. You are the asshole. I told her that I didn't want Megan to feel singled out and feel as though she's the only one being punished for her weight.
You're making it clear to her that this is a punishment?
Healthy food benefits everyone.
Diets are pretty much bad for everyone, as the focus is drastic, temporary change, not fair, and punished by food is the indicator here. If both girls are receiving quality and sufficient quantity in their meals, that's fine. However, the divergence in their weights at such a young age indicates something else is wrong, and they both need checked by a pediatric endocrinologist and probably other specialists. You are the asshole. You're putting Alana on a diet because you don't want to have a conversation with your other daughter about her unhealthy weight.
Alana is not her sister's keeper. You need to step up and do better as the parent. Am I the asshole for telling my mom's husband I never considered asking him to walk me down the aisle? I'm 25 female, engaged right now, and as you can likely tell from the title, my mom is married to someone who isn't my dad. They got married 4 years ago and they started dating 6 years ago.
I was actually living in another country at the time, studying overseas.
I only came back home briefly for the wedding and only came back officially last year. So I haven't spent much time with my mom's husband.
But being truthful, even if I had, given the age I was when they got together, I wouldn't see him as my dad, parent.
Which is why he stunned me by telling me he wanted to give me away at my wedding.
He told me he looked forward to doing it for all 3 of his girls. He has 2 daughters and a son, so I guess he counted me, and was excited at the thought of me being the first he gives away.
I didn't like the way he worded it, giving me away, or the fact he approached me about this when he had no hand in raising me.
But my mom loves him, so I was kind, said it was a sweet offer, lovely gesture, but I wasn't very comfortable with that, and we could figure out something else for him to do if he wanted to be more involved in the wedding. This was met with him questioning why I'd say no and him saying he thought I would be happier to have him do it.
He said given I have no father in my life and grew up with no close adult males, it made sense.
I pointed out to him that I had my mom who raised and sacrificed for me. He was like, yeah, but she's no man, and I told him I didn't plan to have a very traditional wedding, so mom doing it wouldn't be strange at all.
He genuinely never considered the fact I would ask mom, and he became very emotional when I brought this up. It was a mixture of embarrassment, sadness and frustration, and he was word vomiting all over the place. It got on my nerves because he was clearly not okay with me saying no to him. He told me he should have been my first choice, and it made no sense that he wasn't when he's the only father figure I have. I told him I never considered asking him once for the very reason he's not my father figure or my parent, and that role goes more to a parent generally than a parent's new spouse. He looked so offended and told me the fact I never considered him a valid option stung. He told me I couldn't have his money then. I asked him what he meant and he said he had been expecting to pay, that mom had mentioned money. I told him that was nothing to do with him. It was money mom saved for my wedding as I was growing up, that she had saved long before him. I told my mom what happened and she was so embarrassed he acted that way. She said she'd talk to him, but I got a text not too long after from him that reminded me I had hurt his feelings and offended him. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. And why the hell would he expect that he could give you away? He sounds like big drama for being hurt by this. Would answer him, hey, mom's husband. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings. But you came into my life when I was already an adult. You are a great husband to my mom and I'm glad for that,
But you were not a father who raised me.
You never changed my diaper.
You never stayed home from work, because I was sick in kindergarten or school.
You haven't taught me how to ride a bike or to swim.
You weren't there at my school celebrations or sport events. I accept, like you for who you are, but please don't make any more drama for things that you weren't because we haven't known each other at that time.
Edit, spelling error.
Not the asshole. This makes me feel very uncomfortable for you, Op. It takes time to develop the kind of relationship he seems to want with you, and the way he is not listening to you and respecting your perspective is no way to foster a connection. To be honest, his behavior feels emotionally manipulative, and it sounds like he is trying to pull your mom into it too. If I were in this situation, I would need to have a very real talk with him and your mom before his behavior causes bigger issues down the line.
Not the asshole.
The key phrase here is, my mom's husband, vs. stepdad.
It was presumptuous for him to assume that since he married your mom, when you were in your 20s no less, that he should even be considered. Also, love the fact that he's appointed himself the only father figure you have. Not the asshole. So you now know that A, he isn't used to be told no.
B, he definitely doesn't see being told no by a woman as valid. C, that he believes his feelings are more important than anything else going on.
D, he's misogynistic. Honestly, the list goes on from there, but you need to address these issues with your mother, and why she's fine with it and his behavior. Not the asshole.
It sounds like you went the gentle route, and when he didn't clue in, you had to be pretty direct. Your mom's husband hurt his own feelings here.
Not the asshole. It's honestly kinda weird that he expects to be considered to give you away when he's barely been in your life.
He's also trying to act manipulative with money to get his way.
Sounds like your stepdad is entitled.